Segments has spoken, a Survivor Fancast. My name is Mark. I am here with my good friend, Survivor Tribe mate, Amber.
Hi.
Hi, Amber. Amber, we just finished watching Season 36, Episode 7, Gotta Risk It for the Biscuit of Survivor Ghost Island. And I feel like we just watched ourselves a real episode of Survivor.
Ooh, yeah. I took a ton of notes this time.
A ton.
So much exciting happening.
So much happened. It was incredible. After a couple of episodes that were great, I enjoyed them, but they were a little bit slower. We didn't see much happening on Ghost Island, if anything. We didn't see any idol finding. But tonight, we had, 3 advantages found. 2 hidden immunity idols and
An extra vote
over on Ghost Island. So let's start at the beginning, Amber. What stood out to you at the opening of the show?
Well, we started out going back to Mololo after James was voted out. So they're all sad. They keep losing. Michael's all alone now. He's the only one left from his alliance. He knows it's 3 against 1 over there. And so he's pretty desperate, and he starts searching for an idol.
Which you have to.
You have to.
You absolutely have to. And Angela could tell what's up. She's like, oh, where's Michael? Oh, he looks like he's down on the beach. He's looking for an idol. And Desiree, she's just like, well, he knows he's up against the wall. There's no point. Easy pickings or something, she says, And I'm just like, why? I just feel like she's mean.
Yeah. It's really weird to me that they're not all just looking for idols all the time. Because this season especially, it makes it seem like if somebody just puts their mind to it and looks for 15 minutes, then they find an idol.
Yeah.
Like, even if you know your tribe is in a good spot, even if you're one of the 3 who knows that they have the upper hand, wouldn't you want to be the one to find the idol?
You want to know where it is.
Nobody else gets it?
So you're not concerned this person might have one, that person might have one. Who should we vote out? I've got it. I'm going to hold on to it, until I think I need it.
Yeah.
Which I think is the danger, I guess, but...
And then we didn't get to see how Michael kind of played it with the rest of the tribe. Did he just continue to go out and look? If he doesn't want them to know he has it, he should continually pretend like he's still looking for an idol.
Yeah.
Or maybe he wants them to kind of suspect, so hopefully they wouldn't try to vote him out. But
yeah, he has to play it. Well, next week we're at Emerge, so things really change.
That's really
so we're going to be at Emerge with 2 hidden immunity idols and an extra vote from Kellen. So
the idol he found was the stick.
That's not an idol. It's an effing stick.
It's the effing stick that was made by Ozzy, who we've seen Ozzy's first season. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen the fans versus favorites. We're trying to catch up on some other ones before we can see that season so that we know everybody. But we love Ozzy, and so the fact that he made that idol is fun. He persuaded somebody else to take it. Anyway, the 3 players who ended up touching the fake idol that Ozzy made were immediately voted out in that season.
One after the other. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
So did he reverse the curse? I like the storyline in the paper that they get with the idol, and it's like this fake idol has been sitting on the Ghost Island for the last 10 years, and it has gained power or whatever, and so it has fully matured, I think is what it said. And so now they have this fake idol. It's been hanging out on the island. Now it's ready to go. Yeah,
that's some fun lore. So now it gets to be a real immunity idol. Michael hides it again under a tree. I mean, I guess that's what you have to do.
Yeah, there's nowhere to put it. And I wrote down in my notes.
Actually, I don't know if he hit it. And the other guy who finds one hides it again. But
so I wrote in my notes, is this a momentum shift for Mololo?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. I think it's certainly a momentum shift for Michael himself. But then once he gets that hidden immunity idol, we go straight into the reward challenge. And so I'm like, all right, we'll see if my momentum shift for Mololo is an accurate prediction or not.
Yes. So in this reward challenge, they're playing for the winner gets steak and chicken kebabs. The second place gets just chicken kebabs. And the third place gets nothing.
And it was... Which one? Oh, this was the great... They did this in Heroes, Healers, and Hustlers. There's 4 people playing, and they're all holding onto ropes that are connected to a disc, and they have to keep tension on that disc and stack cubes on it to spell a word, and one person has to, one at a time, has to walk out to let kind of, while they're holding a rope or whatever, the other people support it and stack them up, and it gets more and more difficult. Very cool challenge.
Yeah, it looked really tricky. So the one tribe that ended up winning, they got to the point where just 3 of them could support the thing just fine. And they had, I think, Bradley going back and forth, stacking the cubes. I don't know why the other tribes couldn't seem to work that out. It must be tricky to get only 3 to balance.
Yeah, and I don't think the same person. I think different people have different cubes.
Oh, okay.
And so you have to take turns.
Okay.
That was my understanding. I couldn't tell quite clearly. But yeah, they definitely got it figured out eventually. And I was happy to see that Donathan did a great job in that challenge. But in that challenge, we saw the beginning of this kind of the fall of Bradley.
Yeah, we did.
And he's like, Donathan, don't hold any
Donathan,
tension.
no tension. Donathan, no tension.
And Donathan, what did Donathan say?
I'm not Bradley.
I'm not Bradley, yeah. And then Donathan says, I'm just going to let him talk and let him dig his own grave.
Yes.
A little bit prophetic.
Uh-huh. A couple other interesting things about that challenge. Oh, they edited in, which I mean, they don't include everything that happens, but at one point Angela called Michael James. Yeah. And I just thought that was interesting. It was just like, whatever, he's just the guy who's going home next. It could have been Michael, could have been James last week, whichever one's left. Like, it just showed that they didn't have a very close relationship, I felt. Yeah,
absolutely. That was. I did notice that they left that in, was it just kind of a funny thing, but I think it definitely reveals what you're saying there. I love that. Good pickup, Amber.
Thank you.
So ends up Mololo lost.
Yeah.
Poor Mololo.
Naviti was first place. Then Yanuya.
Hardly even knew you. And so they go back to. So Naviti goes back. They'd won everything, and Donathan and Dominic are just having this great conversation. Man, what a great win! And Bradley's like snapping. He's like clapping it. Hey,
move this thing.
Hey,
yeah,
and it's like
ordering people around.
Settle down. And it was so annoying. And of course, Bradley is that character that we love to hate. He's kind of the villain character this season, and so it was just like, I
liked it when they very first got back. They had somebody saying, "Clear off the coffee table, please." Just the fact that you have a coffee table. Give me a break. This is Survivor.
Oh, Naviti, they're doing so good over there on that beach. So they won, and then Yanuya, they were happy with their. They just got the kebabs, not the steak, but they seemed happy about that. And
that's the one with Wendell. He wanted to win it for his girlfriend's birthday. He said, we got the win for Nicole, and I'm racking my mind, like, who's Nicole? Did she get voted out? It was her birthday. They sang happy birthday, which usually you can't do that on TV. Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't know that you couldn't sing that. Amber, there's one thing that we forgot about this reward. They got the steak, they got the kebabs, and they got to pick somebody to go to Ghost Island.
Yeah, and they could have had everyone draw rocks. Yep. Or they had to be unanimous in their 5.
Yeah, and this is only the second unanimous vote we've seen for Ghost Islands in this season, and they said Kellen. And it's just like, poor Kellen, you guys lost the reward challenge. Now you're going back to Ghost Island. Man, it just felt harsh. Yeah, and they wanted to, it was Chelsea who announced it, and she said, Ghost Island is still somewhat of a mystery, so we want to keep it a mystery. We want to send somebody who's already been. Like, they don't want more people to find out about Ghost Island. Yeah. So they chose Kellen for that reason, she said. So should we talk about Ghost Island? Yeah. Kellen goes to Ghost Island again, and she's trying to keep a stiff upper lip, and she breaks the little porcelain whatever, and she gets a game. This is the second time she's been there, and the second time she's been given a chance to play a game. This time the game is a little bit different. Instead of a 50-50 chance, you have a 2 and 3 chance, 66% chance, I guess, to win a reward, but you have to risk your next vote. Yeah, I think the producers heard me complain last week that Ghost Island is just kind of losing its luster, and they better get somebody doing something. Yeah, I think they were tuned right into you. Yeah, I know. They recorded this last summer. Oh, maybe they listened to the podcast. Oh, of course they listen. I'm sure they listen to everything put out there. I think last I saw, there's 2 or 3 podcasts out there about Survivor. Just a couple. Mm-hmm. So she goes for it. I was very happy with this.
Yeah.
Not because I'm a Kellen fan, but because I just wanted to see something cool happen.
Exactly.
So she picks right, and what did she win, Amber?
She got steal a vote is what it was before. It said Michaela on it. So it's a piece of paper like you would use to vote somebody out at Tribal Council, and it said Michaela. So that was from the Game Changers season, and they showed a clip where Michaela had to sit out. She chose to sit out during a competition, and she sat on some kind of a bench, and under the bench was a little tube that said advantage. Michaela didn't see it the whole time she was sitting there. She was mad that she had to sit out. She could have got this advantage, but she didn't, and somebody else saw it, got it, and used it, apparently, to vote out Michaela.
Yeah. And so now it's no longer a steal a vote. It is now an extra vote for Kellen at some point in the future.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That would be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, especially since we know we're going into the merge. That could really swing some things.
Oh, man. You can just such a better chance of getting what you want done, because people are probably, when they're thinking about we're at Tribal Council, I need X number of votes, right? You've got an extra vote that you know about and one that the other team doesn't know about.
Yeah.
And it feels like that momentum would just be very significant. Not a shoe-in by any stretch of the imagination, but a very significant advantage. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
For sure. And I know I've mentioned it before, but man, every time somebody walks on this Ghost Island, I just think of the Exile Island seasons that we've watched, and how people that are watching that now who had to spend the nights on Exile Island have just got to be like, you've got to be kidding me, walking into that beautiful, there's a deck, there's a big fire, there's food. Like, it's so nice compared to Exile Island.
It is a real
People
boon.
would literally just huddle in a freezing cold, starving pile on Exile Island, and this place is pretty nice.
Yeah, I completely agree. It apparently have as much rice as you want. So, yeah, totally different than Exile Island.
Yes. What else did we see? We got to see after Yanuya ate their chicken kebabs and sang happy birthday. Wendell decided to go out and look for an idol. Everybody else was kind of resting. He said he knew food was going to make him sleepy, so when they went to sleep, he decided to go look for an idol. And he was specifically looking for some kind of a natural landmark that he thought would signal an idol, which I don't remember somebody else saying.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That's the thing you look for.
Yeah, I don't know if they always put an idol near something kind of special. I remember the last season, maybe not the last season we watched, but the first Exile Island season, there was like a tree that looked like an A or something, and that was where that idol was buried. And so maybe that is a recurring theme throughout the seasons. I'm just not sure. But he is scouring around, and it looked like it was literally like underneath a piece of bark or something. Yeah. How would you not see that?
Yeah, but it was just a map to start with. A map to give you some clues about how to find an idol.
Yeah, and so that's a little bit tricky, right? Because now you have to be gone looking for the idol, and now you have to be gone again following this map.
Right.
And so you have to avoid people.
Yeah.
But with only 5 people in the tribes, it seems like maybe that's not too difficult at this point.
Yeah, it seemed like he just did it immediately. There could have been a time lapse between the two, but it seemed like he just kept going, and he is really smart. He figured out the clue or the map right away, where I can see somebody else might have had to take several trips.
Yeah, I'm a big Wendell fan, and we haven't gotten a ton of airtime with him, so I was excited to see him searching for an idol and finding it. I liked hearing him talk about his girlfriend, and I just like getting to know him a little bit better, and I'm still pulling for him. I don't know if he's still my kind of number one, like who I want, now that I've gotten to know people a little bit. But I'm still pulling for my man Wendell.
Okay, I think that the way he figured out the map was, we didn't get to see the map. He mentioned trees, he mentioned water, and then he's like, a tree with weird roots. It must be this one. And literally all the trees looked exactly like that. They all looked like they had weird roots, so that was impressive. It must be more clues.
Yeah, I thought it had
But the tree right behind it had the exact same weird roots, I thought. Oh. Well, but maybe that was the one between whatever and whatever. We didn't get to see the map, but he figured it out.
He did it, and it was awesome. And that was an interesting idol as well. Mm-hmm. It was the one that Eric, and we saw this on all the previews of Ghost Island. It was this guy who he found, or he got an idol from an immunity challenge.
Yeah.
And if he played it, if he used it, he would be guaranteed a spot in the final 4. And it was him and 4 girls. And this girl, she was a pretty girl. And she, Natalie, and she convinced him to give it to her, and she promised not to vote him out or whatever. And he did, and then got immediately voted out.
Poor Eric. Don't listen to the pretty girl. That was 16th season. Yep, down to the final 5. So, yeah, that was a mistake. Wendell seemed well aware of the history of that and was not going to make the same mistake.
Yep, and so then it is time for the immunity challenge. And this was a cool one, pretty standard survivory challenge. You swim out and you climb up a floating platform, you dive in, you get some rings and bring them back, and you do that again, get the rings and throw them.
Yeah.
And hook them onto a hook, and whoever hooks all of your 6 rings first wins immunity.
Yeah, my first thought was, okay, well, just about anybody could do that. But I imagine that, you and I, with our 8 hours of sleep per night and 3 square meals a day, would get completely exhausted swimming back and forth just once. And they are not eating and sleeping well. And so some of them make it look so easy that you think, oh, no, that other one, what's their problem? But I think it would be pretty exhausting.
Oh, absolutely. You saw the effects, especially in Kellen. Looked like she just jumped in. You could just tell that, you can tell that they're all pretty physically capable, but she's just like a little bit sluggish and kind of fell into the water. And then Dominic kind of jumping off the platform.
Chris said, it's not a dive and it's not a jump the first time. And then when he did it again, Chris was like, second time, awkward again for Dominic.
Yeah, Jeff Probst said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so Jeff said that, and it was great. And so they're going for it. But, something we didn't mention at Mololo, they were down after the reward challenge, they took their Mololo banner, their nameplate or whatever, and burned it in the fire. And then boldly proclaimed at the beginning of the immunity challenge that we broken the curse, and we're gonna win immunity.
That gave them a little confidence. Kellen wasn't even involved in the burning, but you could tell she was supportive of that.
She's like, yeah, great.
Might as well at this point, yeah.
And so it's not looking good because Kellen starts out pretty slowly.
Yeah, so the Mololo tribe's way behind.
Sea bass jumps in like a little fish.
Like a fish.
And he's doing great. But what really turned things around, Amber, and if I'm jumping ahead, just stop me, was Michael Yerger, 18-year-old Michael Yerger. He knows his back is against the wall. He's got this immunity idol, but he doesn't want to play it now. The merge is looming, and the guy just dominates this challenge.
Yeah, he way surpasses Dominic, who was way ahead, and Dominic was definitely slow as well. He was wiped out. But yeah, Michael just swam and dove, and Jeff's like, that's how you do it in Survivor.
That's how you do it in Survivor. Man, it was so good. And so finally, I don't know if they got first place, but no. They didn't. Yanuya got first place.
Yanuya is ridiculously strong.
Gosh.
That's why they need to merge next week, because they are just going to triumph over everything.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so Yanuya wins, hardly even Nuya. Then... Then Mololo comes in. Donathan was doing real well, but he just wasn't able to get those last couple rings, and then Naviti lost.
Yeah. Michael caught up, hit all those rings. That was awesome.
Yeah, Desiree was really struggling. They had her throwing rings at first.
She couldn't even, oh my word. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't either, but man.
Yeah, settle down. So Naviti goes to Tribal, and so after the immunity challenge, we follow Naviti a little bit, which is the standard for the show, and it looks like people are kind of torn.
Yeah.
So on this tribe, as all of them, there was 3 original Naviti and 2 Mololo, and so normally original Naviti sticks together, votes out a Mololo, and that puts Donathan and Libby in jeopardy. And they're sitting on the beach, except for Bradley, who knows what he was doing, the four others. And they're like, man, Bradley's a real jerk. He just talks down to people. I don't like him. And they all like, yeah, let's vote out Bradley if we go to Tribal. But then Dominic's kind of torn because of that Naviti connection, and how's that going to play out. And so I didn't know. I didn't know which way it was going to go. What about you?
Dominic really seemed torn. I felt like... the other 2 Naviti girls were willing to go ahead and vote off, or Who is Naviti? Chelsea. Chelsea seemed fine to go either way. I felt like she was letting Dominic decide which way the two of them were going to go, maybe. So maybe they got a little alliance. But they came back. Dominic was apologizing for swimming slow. And Libby's like, hey, it's okay. We win as a tribe. We lose as a tribe. Everything's fine. Then Bradley goes, I think maybe you had too much coffee. He was not comforting at all. No. I don't know. I think it's those little comments just kind of wore away at Dominic. And he said, do I really need to vote somebody going home who annoys me if that's going to hurt my game in the future? I think he really did give it a lot of thought. Bradley fought to get Libby out. He said she's attractive. You want to buy what she's selling. Morgan said we can't trust her after Morgan got blindsided. So he had some good points against Libby, and that's really the way I thought it was going.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I think I said this at the end of the episode. I was like, I just do not want this to be an old Naviti season versus everybody else season, and they just follow this tribal lines. You know, we've just seen it over and over and over again. And so I was very excited when first vote Libby, second vote Bradley.
Bradley's like, we expected that. Libby's going to vote for Bradley,
and he gets a second one. You could tell he was like,
"Oh my gosh,
whoa, what?
That was super exciting."
Third person voted out, or whatever. Sixth person voted out. I did not expect
that because the whole tribal council conversation, I felt like they were going in the direction of Libby. You know, they always throw out a bone so that maybe you think, oh, I don't know, they could go either way, but they didn't feel to me like everybody always complains about the annoying one at camp. I really didn't think they were going to turn on him, so I thought that was good. Bradley at one point said the five of us get along swimmingly, and Dominic pointed out that sometimes you have to bite your tongue and you don't say everything you're thinking at camp in order to keep the peace. Because Bradley was saying, "Oh, we don't fight. We don't nothing, and they don't fight with you because they're trying to keep the peace, but it doesn't mean they like you, dude."
Yep, absolutely. So it was, and so I think Jeff summed it up great that those old tribal lines are blurring and relationships are building, and it's going to be interesting to see how this goes moving forward. So Bradley is voted out. I was very, very happy. Libby's still in the game. So Mololo gets a little bit. Original Mololo gets a bone here, and I'm very, very excited about that. Next week, Amber, it looks like we got the big merge. So we're at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people now.
Yeah, we were talking to some of my family on Easter who are watching and listening along with us, and they weren't familiar exactly with what the merge is. So just in case we have any segments listeners who are joining us who are not familiar with Survivor, the merge is going to be all the tribes come together, and then every competition from here on out is going to be for individual immunity, not for tribe immunity. So you are only fighting for yourself. If you get you win the immunity challenge, you get a necklace or some sort of an idol that you bring with you to tribal council. Everybody goes to tribal council. Everybody votes for one person to leave except for whoever
you
has
cannot
immunity.
Vote for the immunity idol. And then the hidden immunity idol is played after the votes are cast. The other interesting thing post-merge is that there's still reward challenges, but mostly you win a reward and maybe you'll get to pick 3 people to go with you or something. And so not only are you winning something for yourself, but it's a real political move that you can make connections, you can, build alliances and build relationship that maybe wasn't there.
Oh, I feel like it changes everything.
Yeah, and so that's going to be real fun once we get to the merge.
Especially since they've had 3 different tribal configurations here. There's people who have gotten along in different configurations that may come back together once they see who's left.
Yep.
So I just was doing the math. There are 4 original Mololo left and 9 original Naviti.
Wow.
So if they stick with the original tribal lines, those Mololos are gone.
But we see that we have original Naviti Dominic and we have original Naviti Chris, and they are...
I was wrong. 5 to 8.
5 to 8. Okay, but better. So we got original Naviti Chris, original Naviti Dominic, who are
at each other's
throats. And so that there is going to be a split in original Naviti already, and maybe a split in Naviti. And if Mololo could pull back together, that would be very interesting. So it'll be real fun going forward. I would say this is the point. Once we get to the merge is where things really get exciting. So this is your first season of Survivor. Hopefully you've been enjoying it up to this point, but it really it gets turned up a notch here.
Yeah, there's only 13 left. They're all at one camp. It's easier to keep track of everybody. the political, social dynamics really get moved up here.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Amber, let's wrap up with our Outplay, Outlast, Outwit. I have an opinion about Outplay tonight.
Outplay. That's usually our physical competitor, right?
Exactly. Yep.
I'm going to go Michael.
He's got to be Michael.
He dominated the swimming.
He crushed it, and he really proved himself again. I just am so impressed with this guy. We say it every single week. He's 18 years old. He's got a great social game. He's been the underdog for, 6 tribal councils, and he has survived them all. He's making some connections, and I think certainly part of that is that he's physically dominant, and just they need him on Mololo, so that helps keep him around. But he just plays well, and he realizes, hey, I'm willing to make a deal. Hey, let's talk. Let me explain why I made these decisions.
Yeah.
He's eloquent. I just think I'm very impressed. So great job outplaying Michael. So who outwitted? Who mentally was kind of outwitting tonight?
Maybe Dominic. Dominic with his decision to switch over and not go with Bradley, but to vote Bradley out. I really like that play. Took some wit, and he didn't let anything on. Bradley was shocked. It was a blindside.
Yeah. That's true. And he had to it's a big decision kind of going against original Naviti. We realized that after watching this many episodes. So I agree. I would love to give it to Dominic there. I just like him, but I don't. And interestingly, I also really like Chris. So this is going to be tough for me in the next few episodes. Seeing, am I going to sway one way or the other?
I definitely, when I saw the two of them go head to head, I immediately sided with Dominic for some reason. I think I didn't like Chris at all back when they fought the first time. So it'll be interesting to see.
His arrogance is just, I don't. There's something about it that I just like it for some reason. I don't, and that's not. I don't. It doesn't even quite seem like the right thing to say. It's just like there's something about him, and just, like the way he kind of, remember last episode where he kind of misspoke and said some word wrong, and it's just like, and actually I do think he's got a big heart, taking care of his mom, and so
I don't think he's a bad guy.
Yeah, so interesting. So okay, so what did we say? Michael outplayed. We said Dominic outwitted. So who outlasted? It had to be Libby.
Yeah,
not that she did it, but because she may have made those connections with Dom and with Chelsea.
She was on the chopping block, and she managed to outlast.
She's a Mololo that didn't get voted out and actually got powerful Bradley out. I would absolutely.
It's one of the first Mololo to survive a vote where you're outnumbered there.
And so what's interesting, Amber, as we think about it, that Libby made a big move getting rid of Morgan.
True.
She, it was a big blindside. And now another big Libby, and I don't know if it was her move, it was part of a group, but she was integral and important in it that she also got Bradley out.
That's true. That's true.
Is she playing a really good social game that we're not seeing as much in the edit?
I feel like the way Bradley talked about her tonight, he's not the first one to mention that. Like, oh, she's tricky, you'll buy anything she's selling, or she's convincing, she's charming. People say that kind of thing. Right. We don't get to see that much airtime of her.
Morgan said, "Don't trust the cute blonde," as soon as she was walking out, and so
she almost feels like one that could end up in the finals, where somebody kind of brings her along because maybe she didn't do as well in the competitions, and they think maybe they can win against her, but then all of a sudden she's got all this social game stuff to back up her decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it would make more sense to bring Chelsea along for that. I think Libby's too dangerous. I think she knows what she's doing. Chelsea seems like she's just kind of riding on the coattails of Dominic at this point, and so it'll be interesting to see how Libby plays the rest of the game.
So excited for this merge. I hope they get to go to the coffee table. Nice beach.
Oh man, yeah. What are they going to do? That'd be great. I'm sure they will.
I don't know.
Last couple seasons, they get to take all the stuff that they like to the other beach.
That's true. No matter where they end up, they can take their
their chairs and their coffee table and their coffee maker. And it is hot coffee. You can see the steam when Bradley was making it.
That?
I have no idea.
It's just a Keurig with a log around it?
Hot water.
Oh, duh.
On the fire, and then they pour hot water.
How do they make the water hot? I couldn't figure out how they're going to cook the kebabs. They don't have
Where
a
do
grill.
they get such a long extension cord? I mean, that's crazy. So, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us for episode 7, Gotta Risk It for the Biscuit. It was a fantastic episode. Can't wait to talk Merge next week. Oh, we're not going to talk Merge next week.
Ooh, that's good to let everybody know.
I am going to be in Japan at the airing of next week's episode. So we are not going to have a show next week. We'll have a double show, hopefully Wednesday or Thursday the following week.
Yeah, feel free to send in your comments. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at SegmentsCast, or you can send us an email, segmentscast@gmail.com.
That is correct.
Let us know your thoughts on either of the next 2 episodes, and we will see if we can share them.
As always, we want to thank EDM Samurai for the intro and outro music. We appreciate you very much, Gabriel, and you can find Gabriel's music at SoundCloud at EDM Samurai.
Yeah, and thank you to Emma for providing our graphics and logo. You can find her at Of Hauntings on Twitter.
All right. Well, I got to get out of here. I got to go look for an immediate.
All right. You know you're going to find one almost immediately. All right, everybody, grab your torches. Head back to camp.